Now, WBOC News at 6, Delmarva's news leader.
Clearing the air, a new report shows an overall drop in pollution in Delaware last year, but not everyone is breathing easier. Good evening, everyone. I'm Paul Butler.
And I'm Steve Hammond. Welcome to WBOC News at 6. The latest report is a mixed bag. The numbers show water and land pollution increased last year in Delaware, but air emissions dropped, with the Indian River Power Plant near Dagsboro taking some of the credit. Sussex County Bureau Chief Michael Lepardi is in our Milton newsroom this Friday evening. Michael, neighbors of that facility have expressed concerns about air quality in the past.
And Steve, neighbors we spoke with say they're relieved by the news. The state credits new pollution rules, plant improvements, and a downturn in the economy for the changes. The latest DENREC report shows air pollution in Delaware is on the decline, thanks in part to changes at the Indian River Power Plant near Dagsboro. For neighbor Bruce Burke, the news is a breath of fresh air.
I've had some concerns, but we haven't had any problems as far as our health here, but I did have some concerns about it.
Numbers just released for 2011 show air pollution from all reporting facilities across the state dropped 31% from the year before, but water pollution increased by 105% and land pollution jumped 32%.
As a state, we're getting better thanks to the Regulation 1146 that has driven our pollution down.
Regulation 1146 sets limits on emissions for certain plants. DENREC says reduced production at Indian River likely reduce some pollutants.
Indian River plays a fairly large role because they are #1 in the state for on-site releases.
NRG owns the plant. By next year, the company says it will have shut down 3 coal units and spent roughly $360 million on environmental controls. In a statement, NRG said taken together, these steps, quote, make the Indian River plant one of the cleanest coal plants in the country.
Our air that we breathe is quite important, and I'm pretty glad that they're doing some things, to make a difference here.
But the state says there's more work to do to clear the air. The state says that spike in water pollution is attributed to the reopening of the refinery in Delaware City. And to put this all in perspective, the report ranks Delaware 44th in the nation for toxic releases. Back to you.
In a bizarre case from earlier this year, a Kent County mother pleads guilty to abusing her son's corpse. This is Karen Hooks. She was accused of hiding the decomposed body of her 2-year-old son, Justice, in her Dover home. Though the child's death was ruled a homicide, Hooks has not been charged with that crime. The homicide investigation remains open. Meanwhile, Hooks faces up to 7 years in prison for the charges she pled guilty to today, including abusing a corpse. Sentencing is scheduled for January in Kent County.
Well, it was back in May that a Sussex County man hit and killed a beloved elderly woman in Laurel. He was on his motorcycle when the accident happened. Today, he was sentenced in Superior Court. 28-year-old Matthew Condash pleading guilty to criminal negligent homicide, and the judge sentenced Condash to 1 year behind bars and 1 year home confinement. WBOC's Kayla Ayers joins us live from Laurel. Kayla, Condash pled guilty to a lesser crime than what he was originally charged with, manslaughter.
Steve, it's been 6 months since Eleanor Pusey crossed this street in front of the church where she prayed and worked. It's also where she was struck by Condash's motorcycle. In those 6 months, the community has struggled with grieving Pusey and forgiving Condash. 78-year-old Eleanor Pusey, a teacher's aide at Epworth Christian School, was crossing Sycamore Road to join her students for field day when the unthinkable happened. 28-year-old Matthew Condash sped around a car on his motorcycle on this curve and struck Pusey, killing her. Gary Smith lives nearby. Smith calls it a tragic accident.
It's just one of those things where, being in the wrong place at the wrong time, so.
Condash, who was later arrested in Virginia and extradited to Delaware, was charged with manslaughter. In the end, he pled guilty to criminal negligent homicide and other lesser charges. Condash will serve 1 year in jail, 1 year in home confinement, as well as probation. Condash's attorney released this statement to WBOC, saying, "We had hoped for home confinement as opposed to any jail time. Unfortunately, in cases like this, there are no winners. Everyone is a loser." Some of Pusey's family attended the sentencing. A letter from the family was read, letting Kondash know they wish him no ill will and harbor no hatred. People in Laurel say they hope this sentencing gives some closure to the Pusey family and the community.
I hope so. I'm sure it'll bring some sort of closure to them. They're never going to replace her. So, but hopefully this will help them, deal with it a little better.
Kondash was once a student here at Epworth Christian School and even knew Eleanor Pusey. Friends of the Pusey family say they're still grieving, but they hope the best for Kondash. Reporting live in Sussex County, Kayla Ayers, WBOC News, Laurel.
A pair of recent shootings in Kent County has folks in one neighborhood plain scared. In the latest incident, investigators say a man was shot by a stranger after he opened his front door in Smyrna. It happened Wednesday evening along Summer Drive, and this is the second shooting that's happened within the last 2 weeks on the same street. Now, neighbors say something needs to be done.
If everybody starts sticking together and maybe even do a petition on something, try to get, more patrolling going on and whatever we can do to get it done to keep our kids safe and, keep us all safe.
Police have been patrolling in the area near Summer Drive. Investigators say they are still searching for a suspect in Smyrna.
Firefighters in Dorchester County spent their morning battling a chicken house fire. It was a 3-alarm blaze that broke out along Springdale Road in East Newmarket. The good news is the chicken house was empty at the time, but get this. The Maryland Fire Marshal's Office says the initial cause appears to be spontaneous combustion of shavings in the chicken house. The fire caused about $1,000 in damage to the building and another $50,000 to the equipment inside that poultry house in Dorchester County.
A local benefit concert helped raise thousands of dollars for areas of New Jersey recovering from Hurricane Sandy. Now, organizers say roughly 750 people attended Delaware Coast Aid last night. The event was held at the Rusty Rudder in Dewey Beach. Organizers say ticket sales, along with donations, have brought in more than $60,000 for people in New Jersey.
Life without those beloved Twinkies. That's what people can expect now that Hostess, the maker of cupcakes, ding dongs, and Wonder Bread and Twinkies, announced that it is on the verge of shutting down. If Hostess does in fact go belly up, as it says it will, nationwide, more than 18,000 people will lose their jobs, including workers at the outlet store in Salisbury. We're told that store is expected to stay open for a few more weeks until all of the snacks have been sold at that store in Salisbury.
Just in time for the holidays, the Food Bank of Delaware and a local supermarket that is, are teaming up to fight food waste. Extra food from ShopRite will now go to the Food Bank of Delaware, keeping it out of landfills. The EPA says food waste is the largest single type of material sent to landfills. More packaged foods will now go to the food bank so it can then distribute food to the needy.
This is food that they would normally discard, so it could be anything from non-perishable items, but more especially with this agreement, we would be looking at the meats and other items that they would discard.
The EPA estimates 34 million tons of food waste was generated in 2010. Only 3% of that was given to hunger relief organizations.
Plans for a new hospital on the Midshore have taken a big step forward. The Easton Planning Commission has approved plans to build the new Shore Health System Regional Medical Center. But as WBOC's Midshore Bureau Chief Stephen Fisher reports now, some people in the community are expressing concern.
One concern about the location of the hospital is its proximity to Route 50. Some say the summertime traffic could cause problems. A revised plan for the new regional hospital set to open in 2016 was accepted by the town, but changes were made. The biggest was repositioning the entire hospital.
The hospital proposed to rotate the building for 2 reasons. I think 1, to provide a better orientation to US Route 50, and 2, to improve their efficiency during construction.
Deputy Town Planner Zach Smith says this will allow construction to get done faster.
Rotating the hospital counterclockwise from the previous proposal, they're able to begin construction activity on the hospital building itself and at the same time on the new 662 while leaving existing 662 open.
Roger Crump of Easton is on board with a new and improved hospital, but wants multiple ways to access its facility.
One concern I know we have is how to get to the hospital if they were going to make a back road so you didn't have to get back out on Route 50.
Coons Lesser agrees and says if he ever needs to get to the hospital, he'll want to avoid Route 50 at all costs.
I think it's a much safer way to enter the facility than from Route 50 because the people are correct. During the summer traffic, it could present a huge problem for the traffic.
And now that the plan has been approved, I'm told they could break ground in late spring. Reporting from the Midshore, Stephen Fisher, WBOC News, Cambridge.
It is Friday, which means we have another edition of 60 Seconds of Science still to come. Plus, check on our weekend forecast coming up later. So what can we expect from Old Man Winter this year? Reporter Charles Paparella interviews the old windbag himself in tonight's Travels.
That's when WBOC News at 6 continues right after the break. But first, WBOC is proud to serve Crocheron and proud to serve all of Dorchester County.
With more on Crocheron, here's WBOC's flying weatherman, meteorologist John Trout in Chopper 16.
The village of Crocheron is as far southwest as you can go in Dorchester County. This sharp point of land once stuck into the heart of oyster country in the Chesapeake Bay, and the boats engaged in the bountiful harvests of the last half of the 1800s found a harbor refuge here on Tedious Creek. The settlement was founded by Nathan Crocheron in the middle of the 19th century and was officially named when Eugene Crocheron was postmaster in 1902. The village got an additional population boost from residents of Holland's Island and Bloodsworth Island who moved here as the rising waters of the bay claimed their homes and farms. WBOC is proud to serve Crocheron and all of Dorchester County and proud to partner with my friends at Johnny Janosic World of Furniture in Laurel and Dover. Shop today for tremendous extra holiday savings and get free bonus furniture at one of America's largest furniture stores. And tell them the WBOC Flying Weatherman sent you. I'm meteorologist John Trout in Chopper 16.
You're watching WBOC News at 6 with Steve Hammond, Paul Butler, Chief Meteorologist Dan Satterfield, and Chopper 16, covering the entire peninsula for Delmarva's news leader.
Coming up this weekend, make sure that you check out an all-new episode of Outdoors Delmarva with Mike Parker and Captain Willie Dykes.
Yeah, this is one you don't want to miss. Among the adventures is a youth hunt during the Delaware shotgun season. Here's Mike with the preview.
And even though the state of Delaware will achieve 50% of its annual deer harvest in these past 8 days, it doesn't mean it's easy.
In years past here on the show, we've always hunted the opening morning of the Delaware shotgun season alongside friends, and then broke off to go take in some success stories at a local butcher shop or two. But this time around, our season began about a week early. The first Saturday of November marks Delaware's youth shotgun hunt for deer, and we joined father and son Eric and Nathan Reed on a property on the edge of Redden State Forest. Though as the hours pass by on this morning, almost too quickly to believe, the deer just aren't moving. And while we won't be walking away with any venison, the morning is still a success.
It means a lot to me. I think it's a great opportunity for kids to get in the outdoors and enjoy it and see what it's all about.
To see the full story and more, tune in to Outdoors Delmarva, Saturday night at 7:30 on WBOC.
Well, we saw a little bit of sunshine today, hoping for more over the weekend.
Will it be another nice weekend on Delmarva? Chief Meteorologist Dan Satterfield has the answer and the forecast as WBOC News at 6 continues in a moment. Well, we were talking about, this weekend or earlier in the week, we've been saying that, Sunday was looking bad. It's looking better. May see a little bit of rain.
A little sun on Saturday and Sunday both. Probably more tomorrow. And yes, a little coastal drizzle, perhaps. But not a really bad rainy weekend, although it is going to be blustery. Let's talk about it. It is kind of a mixed bag. Nothing on radar out there tonight. And I don't think we'll see anything for the rest of tonight. It's going to be a clear and perhaps in some spots frosty night out there. And then over the weekend, the clouds are going to roll back in. We did get up to 51 in Salisbury today, Ocean City at 50, Dover at 47 degrees. Temperature curve for Salisbury, now the clouds cleared and we did sneak up to 51, but we've lost 9 degrees from 4 o'clock. We're now down to a chilly 42 degrees. Dew point 29, winds out of the north at 3 miles per hour. Easton at 41, 39 now in Dover and Ocean City. Wallops at 44 degrees. Winds very light. They are going to turn to the northeast tomorrow. What that will do is eventually bring some low clouds back in the evening, and also it will bring the temperatures up tonight on the coast and keep you in the low 50s during the day tomorrow. Here's the satellite image. You can see those clouds moving out. I'll let this run one more time. We started off most of the day cloudy, but around 1 or 2 o'clock they did finally break up. Unfortunately, they're going to come back. Let me show you what happens here. We go through the day Saturday morning, sunshine across Delmarva. As we go into the evening, though, here comes a deck of clouds. Now, the further south on Delmarva you are, the more likely you are to see the clouds during the afternoon and evening. From Dover up to the north, I don't think you'll see the clouds until probably later on in the evening and even into Sunday. But look at 1 o'clock Sunday. There might even be some light rain down in Northampton County and southern Accomack County. Generally, though, just a cloudy day, some spotty drizzle in the coastal areas. Georgetown tomorrow afternoon, a little sunshine, northeast wind 9 to 15, temperature briefly up to about 51. For the rest of tonight, inland temperatures will probably get to close to freezing, although look at the difference on the coast with that northeast wind. You'll be in the mid-40s. And then highs tomorrow, generally 52 to 54, blustery and even windier on the coast. The beach is 51 or 52. The water temperature right now, right around 51 or 52. So once that wind comes in off the ocean, that's what the temperature will be on the coast. Sunday will be the cloudier day of the weekend, although I am seeing some hints, just some hints that maybe a little sun will peek through. 52. Same on Monday, 54. 56 on Tuesday with a little bit more sunshine. And then finally, this whole messy pattern breaks and we'll see sunshine Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. Thanksgiving looks good. The high 59 if we're lucky. If we're lucky, we just might nudge 60, and then a cool front will bring us back down into the mid-50s on Friday. That's a look at the weekend weather, and have a good one, Paul.
Still to come here on WVOC News at 6, the bright side of a gloomy day. That's tonight's Travels with Charlie. That's next on WVOC News at 6.
Well, apart from the occasional superstorm, I think we'd all agree it's pretty much been a mild fall, but the chill in the air reminds us that winter is on the way.
Charles Paparella caught up with Old Man Winter, believe it or not, in a Worcester County field. Now, he asked about the upcoming season. His answer is the subject of tonight's Travels with Charlie.
Old Man Winter dropped by the other day. How long he was staying, he didn't exactly say. He said, just let me move some of my personal things in. You know how I like a good strong wind. And maybe a color scheme more to my taste. For me, all those hues just go to waste. With too much color, the eye forgets. The truth of a thing is its silhouette. Color is perception, not reality. So you can't believe everything you see. But knowing how you mortals crave color from cradle to the grave, I will not disappoint your eyes. For all my season I will paint the skies with colors so bold on a canvas so large that you'll not help but remember who's really in charge. Emboldened, I asked the old man why we must have winter at all. He laughed and said, what a foolish thing. Without the winter, there can be no spring. outstanding in the field with the wintertime blues. This is Charles Paparella for WBOC News.
Way to go, Charlie.
Got a double dose of Chief Meteorologist Dan Satterfield. Still to come, we have an update on our weekend and holiday forecast.
And we've got another edition of 60 Seconds of Science. Tonight's topic, the Coriolis effect. Dan will explain when we come right back.
It's time for another edition of 60 Seconds of Science with Chief Meteorologist Dan Satterfield.
This week, Dan shows us the Coriolis effect, and he's using a merry-go-round to explain.
So every weatherman who's ever told you that the winds blow clockwise around a high and counterclockwise around a low has actually been lying to you. Winds blow straight from high pressure to low pressure. It just looks like they're curving because we're on a moving Earth. The Coriolis effect is why we see the winds blow clockwise around high-pressure systems. To really understand it, find a merry-go-round like this, and then try and throw a ball to someone sitting straight across from you while the merry-go-round is rotating counterclockwise. You'll miss your target every time as the ball curves to the right. Anything in motion in the northern hemisphere curves right. If you could throw a baseball 5 miles, it would curve as well. But the Coriolis effect is only noticeable over great distances. The water in your toilet bowl will drain the same way, north or south of the equator.
Very interesting. Another great lesson.
There
Thank
you
sir.
go. All right. It is a fun thing to do, by the way. If you get on a merry-go-round and do that, you will not be able to hit the person across from you. Your ball will shoot off to the right. So.
Every time.
All right. So let's talk weekend weather.
All right, shall we?
All right, here you go. 54 tomorrow. The clouds roll in late in the day. And then a fairly cloudy, blustery Sunday. Some patchy drizzle on the coast. Temperatures stay in the low 50s. Nighttime lows in the low 40s.
All right, thanks for joining us here for WBOC News at 6. For news anytime, get it now on WBOC.com.
CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley is next. We'll be back in 30 minutes for the WBOC News at 7.
Have a great weekend, everybody.